It's time to try version 10 with some rainy roads, specifically the highway portion of the test loop. Right off the bat, you'll see there's a warning message on my dash stating that there are poor weather conditions, so navigate on autopilot is not available. So the lane changes that you'll see will be me actually directing it to do the lane changes, but autopilot will actually be making the changes. So I actually take autopilot off as I'm getting onto the highway. Once I get settled onto the highway, then I turn it back on like I would traditionally do with autopilot before navigate on autopilot. There are a couple of improvements in version 10 that are really going to help in this kind of weather. The first is the improved smoothness of braking. It doesn't brake as aggressively if someone cuts you off or stops quickly in front of you, and it still provides plenty of distance with braking. It just doesn't do it as aggressively, which is much better in bad weather like rain and snow. The other improvement is the great reduction in phantom braking. For the last few revisions of version 10, I've had no phantom braking at all on the highway. Just like you normally would when you're driving manually, I've increased the following distance during this video to I think 5, maybe even 6. Even though navigating on autopilot is not available during this weather, the automatic lane change, so just hitting the turn signal and having it change lanes, still works, as well as the blind spot detection. That also works really well. I'm approaching an accident. This car in the right lane merges into the left, and the car again slows down very smoothly with this version of software. I added the right repeater camera footage here just so you can see how clear the picture is even in this heavy rain, which is why blind spot detection works so well even in this weather. Even with cars kicking up spray, as you can see here from the left repeater, the picture is still very clear. I'm about to make a change into the left lane here, so I wanted to bring up the front camera so you can see what it looks like in heavy rain as it's making lane changes and what it sees out the front of the car, at least with one of the cameras. The car has 3 forward-facing cameras, and as you can see, the picture is quite clear for this as well when compared to what you can see from the inside of the car. I have the rear camera on the center display, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, and that has a lot of water coverage. Here I'm coming up on a pretty interesting situation. I have a semi coming up on the left side of the car, and the car moves to the right side of the lane. Then I'm about to pass a semi on the right side of me, and the car centers again. As soon as I pass the car on the right, you can see it moves a little bit to the right side of the lane again. And then after the semi passes, the car centers again, and the camera from the front of the car actually does a pretty good job of showing these changes. The car on the right here starts drifting across the line a couple of times, and if you look closely on the dash, you can actually see when it changes the shading on it, and it slows down, speeds up a couple of times trying to get past it. Finally, they stay in their lane, and then autopilot's able to accelerate past them. The guy coming up on the right here seems to have nailed a few of these construction cones. It's a bummer. The weather is pretty bad today, and it seems that folks are having some problems. I had watched a video about Navigate on Autopilot where if you had turned the windshield wipers off or turned it to a really low setting, that Navigate on Autopilot would turn back on. I think it was maybe Dirty Tesla who had done that, and it appears they have changed that in the latest version of software. Though it looks pretty bad here, I can actually see okay, and Navigate on Autopilot never turns back on. Here's another example of it moving to the left side of the lane for this truck on the right side of the road. This is a pretty impressive feature and makes you feel a lot more comfortable in the lane. Wish it would do a little bit more smoothly. It's almost kind of like it's starting to lane change, but it's pretty refined for being the first version. Here a pickup truck is coming up on my left towing a trailer that looks really unstable. In fact, I was about to take over when the car automatically moved to the right side of the lane, so it must have detected that he was too close and moved over. Here I execute another lane change, and it does another good job at moving over without problems in the rain. So there you have it. Overall, it does a really good job in the rain. I was actually pretty impressed that blind spot detection still works, that the lane changes, once they're initiated, work automatically without a problem. And though it's kind of a bummer that Navigate on Autopilot doesn't work, I know they're being cautious with this, and it's good to see that all of the features still seem to work, and it'll probably be something that comes in the future. Also, there was no phantom braking like we had seen in version 9. So, though I don't have a whole lot of experience with Autopilot in the rain, I would say that this is definitely an improvement with version 10. Thanks for watching.